Yes, I lived here between 1952 and 1954, and my dad worked for, was known as the California Department of Highways, as now it's changed to Caltrans. And we lived here for 2 years, and we went to school over there in the little schoolhouse. And it was taught by a husband and wife team that taught grades 1 through 8. And then after that, the students were, high school students were boarded in Needles at the expense of the school district and went to school in Needles. But this right here was a cafe, and the woman who owned this was named Eunice Henn. And she moved to Needles. She had 3 or 4 children. I know one daughter was Phyllis Bentley, and she was married to a California highway patrolman, and she's living in Needles, still living in Needles. But she was also postmistress, and so she ran this cafe, gas station, and the post office. And then the house across the street was a cafe. But it was a nice little town because Route 66 was still a vital highway throughout the United States, and a lot of people would stop by here. It was also the railroad station also had a foreman who lived in a house right by the railroad gang here, and they would bring in extra gangs. They would live in railroad cars and work on the railroad, which were mainly Indians. So I went to school with a lot of different types of Indians, Navajo, Pueblo, Hopi, and Zuni, whoever chose to work on the railroad. So they would come through, and we would have the extra gangs here, so we'd have a lot of Indians in town too. So it had quite a history. The prospector who found the Loch Dutch oven mine in the Superstition Mountains, which is right over here, he was still living here at the time. But when he found the Loch Dutch oven mine, it was full of gold nuggets. And he took some of the nuggets and came down, and when he decided to go back, he never could find it again. And he used to sit out there in the front porch and just stare out over the Superstition Mountains and dream about all of this gold that he found that he never could find again, which is one of the stories, which is quite interesting in this area.
Was he here when you were here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he died shortly thereafter. But he was well up in years. But there's stories written about him. He's a pretty famous prospector, and there's a lot of fortune seekers who have gone up there in the Superstition Mountains looking for the Loch Dutch oven. So it's quite interesting. There's a lot of peace and tranquility out here. You know, we'd get up at 6 in the morning to do our washing, so it would be done by 8 o'clock, and you see in this kind of heat, it'd be dry in 15 minutes, you know, and the sheets and the towels all smell so good.